It's just like police. They don't say police have, what do they call those, quotas, but obviously you move up in rank depending on how many felony arrests you have. So everybody who's got one seat of pot, you try to make it a felony arrest. So that way you get a guy who's got one pot seat on him. Well, that's a felony because it's within 100 yards of a school. Yay. You know, and then that way you don't have to really go get a real felon who just like shot up a school full of school kids and he's got a machine gun and you arrest him. Yeah, great. You got a felony on that guy. Whoopie-doo. I mean, you know, it almost took out your life because you had to come after a guy who had a machine gun. The other one, you got a hippie on a street corner, you know, with a pot seed in his pocket. Oh, good. That's a felony arrest. I'm going to move up in rank quick. So they get promoted depending on how many felony arrests they have. It's not so much quota. You know, it's more like quality than quantity. If you get felonies, that's quality. That's quality arrests. This kid could have a pot seed in his pocket, man, you know, but he's 100 yards near a school crossing or something like that, or 300 feet from a church, and that's a felony. You know, so this poor kid has got to go deal with a felony conviction on his ass for the rest of his life because this cop wanted to move up to be a lieutenant that much quicker. When I went to traffic court the other day, there was like 6 cops in there. 5 of them only had like 2 or 3 people they gave tickets to for the month. This guy that pulled me over, it was funny. There must have been close to 100 people that he gave tickets to in a month. Yeah, the other 5 cops had about 3 or 4 people, and then they were out of there. He was the last one to go. That cop was the last one to leave. Because I was like, wow, look at all these people left. And then I realized, there's only 1 cop left. Look at all these people. This building's still full. And then when he went, I realized, holy cow, this guy, you know, because they did everything by alphabetical order. I was like, wow, you got 5 A's, you know, 3 people started with B, you know, 7 people with letter C. I was like, holy crap, this guy's a busy boy. This guy wants to move up ranking quick. So it's like, man, what a bad day that he arrested me. Yeah, loaded actually says arrest on the thing. He pulled me over. Oh, it was so funny. When he pulled me over, I stopped dead in the middle of the road. It was funny as hell. I didn't pull over. I stopped. Because and he didn't even ask me. He didn't even ask me, can you pull over? I said, I'm under arrest, am I not? Because he would have said yes. I said, then I'm not making any move in which they would warrant you to say that I'm resisting arrest. I am not moving an inch. I said, I'm staying right here. So he didn't bother asking me, you know, would you pull over and get us out of the road? No way. I would say, I'm under arrest. You could pull this vehicle over, but I ain't pulling over. No, I'm under arrest. I said, I'm going to do no way. You know, no way I was going to move. It was so funny. So, you know, if I'm under arrest, I'm under arrest. And it actually says that on the citation. It says location of the stop. It said whatever, Highway 340. It said location of the arrest. It said same. So it's like, oh, yes, this man actually admitted he arrested. Yes, I'm going to get him for a false arrest. Oh, yes, this is going to be good. I didn't need arrest, but he gave me one anyway. He's already had the jurisdiction authority to do it. Maybe under a traffic, you know, code. But the only problem is that it's a motor vehicle act. So where does traffic code come? And the judge said to me, well, this is a traffic matter. So I'm not trafficking in anything. So, I mean, how do you answer something like that when the judge said this is a traffic matter? I said, sir, I wasn't trafficking in anything. You didn't hear the judge say, oh, yes, you were. Oh, yeah, really? What was I trafficking? You know, so it stopped right there. See, I shot the ball over the net, and he just let it die. The judge said, this is a traffic matter. I said, I'm not trafficking in anything, sir. And he just let it die. I said, as a matter of fact, this is a matter of the property of a man. And if another man could tell another man what he can do with his property. And I said, it's going to be even funnier if the government could ask if they could control the man or tell the man what he can and cannot do with his property. This is a property issue that's before this court. There's nothing to do with traffic. He says, well, this is a trafficking matter. I said, well, I'm not trafficking it. I said, you tell me what I'm trafficking. He says, well, we'll hold this over for a court of record. I said, that'd be lovely. If the court's earliest convenience, I'd appreciate it. That was December 17th. So hopefully I'll get done doing all that traveling stuff in November, and I'll be getting ready to do this court. I'm sure it's probably going to take months just for me to get that damn camera into that damn courtroom. I'm going to have to make a claim that that's a public building. I'm a public. I'm bringing my camera with me. I'm moving my court into this building. I'm sure it's going to take months just to get a camera into that damn room. We're going to find out, but, you know, I got plenty of time. I want to come back here to Virginia and, you know, do what I got to do and relax a little bit and take this to court, you know, and bring this court thing, you know, like everybody keeps saying to me, oh, how do we know any of this stuff's true? Oh, I got the cops, what do they call those? Business cards. The policeman that I beat back in 2008, his name is Michael Rohn. And this son of a bitch, he doesn't look like he aged one day in 7 years, man. He looks great still. He actually looks younger than I remember seeing him. And that's what I told him. I went up to the sheriff's department, and I went up to the window, and I hadn't been there since 2008. And I said to him, I said, is there an officer named Michael? I don't remember his last name. I described him as a blonde hair, little mustache, beard, kind of goatee thing going on. And they were like, Michael Rowan? I said, that sounds right. I said, he's like a deputy? He's like, well, no, he's an investigator. I said, okay, man, I guess he moved up. He's a real good guy. He's real smart. I said, can you tell him Karl Lentz is out here? And she said, who? I said, Karl Lentz. She says, I remember that name. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I said, that's pretty cool. You remember my name from 7 years ago. She said, yeah, I remember you. She said, let me see if he's around. I brought my little brother Frankie up there. So, because I was telling my little brother Frankie how I dealt with the court. You know, I guess he didn't believe me. So I brought him up there to meet the sheriff, the deputy. They were always investigating that. So he met Michael, and Michael came out, and we started talking, and it took him a little bit. He was trying to make believe like he didn't remember. I said, remember I'm the only guy that you ever lost? He was like, I remember losing. I said, remember? And then we started talking, and he started laughing. He's like, yeah, I said, man, I talk about you on the radio show all the time. I tell you, you're the greatest court enforcement officer I ever went up against in court. I said, you're better than any video camera I've ever been up against. I said, man, you picked out details that video camera only wish it picked out. The elevation, the direction of the wind, the clarity of the sky, how many distance of feet you could see. Honest truth. I said, man, you were fantastic. I said, man, I go to video cameras, but buddy, you were a hell of a witness for the state. I said, you were great. I said, and we just kept talking, out in the lobby, and, he was laughing, I was laughing about it, and eventually he gave me his business card, like, if you got a problem, just give me a call. I said, yeah, not a problem. See, that's what I'm saying, even though you could go up against the cops 7 years ago, you could still laugh and joke about it, how much fun it was to go in court. And he was pissed off at me, he wasn't angry, we were just laughing and joking about it. And my little brother, when we left, he says, holy shit, Carl, you were telling the truth. I said, of course I was. Wait, I was bullshitting you? I said, doing court is a lot of fun. I said, it's not hard to do. Just show them that you didn't do anything wrong. There's no breach of the peace, so what the hell are we doing here? I said, that's the big thing, was there a breach of the peace? Not so much with my violation of code, of course I am, but I'm not a code decipherer. Of course what I did was illegal, but I'm a legal person. So I know I'm a man, and that's all I got to admit to, that I'm a man. I don't know about any of this other shit that you want to title me. I don't fucking know. Maybe I am. I don't know. I'm a legal person. I don't know. I take it out of my pants and I know I'm a man. How do I know if I'm a legal person? How the hell do I know? Is there some place on my body I should check? No, how the fuck do I know? I know I'm in the book of souls of the Mormons, but I'm not a Mormon. But the Mormons will swear I am. Say, oh yeah, you better believe you're a Mormon. No, I'm not. You're in our book of souls. When you drop dead and die, you're going to have to get through that gate somehow. You're going to tell them, hey, you just look up in your book of souls and you'll see me there. I'm a good, upstanding Mormon. I'm not a Mormon. No, yes, you are. We made you a Mormon. I didn't ask you to make me a Mormon. Well, don't worry about it. It's for your benefit. Yeah. But I didn't ask for it. Well, that's okay. Someday you'll be glad you did. I'm like, okay. Same thing with being a legal person. No different. I didn't pay no dues to be a legal person. Well, we made you one anyway. Well, just in case your mom and dad died, if your mom and dad died, the legal society would take you in, and the society would take care of you. Really? Yeah, we'd house you, we'd feed you, clothe you. You're only 1, 2 years old. Your mom and dad died in a car wreck. Then the family member society would take care of you. Well, I really appreciate that, but I'm 18 years old. I'm a man now. I don't need society to take care of me. Thank you anyway. But at one time, it was a great benefit to be a legal person. Sometimes I still resort back to asking mom and dad for help. Sometimes I still resort back and asking the legal department for help. But 99% of the time, I don't need help from mom and dad. 99% of the time, I don't need help from the legal department. But it's nice to be able to go back and ask them for help. But if they're burdening me too much, then obviously I want to say, hey, mom, dad, back off. I'm not your kid. I am your kid, but not your kid. I got a life of my own. I got things to do. You got to let me be. You got to let me do my own thing. So, hey, is Gus still on the air?
Yeah, I'm on, Carl.
Hey, is there anybody on the chat board or anything?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of...
Yeah, why don't you guys just talk to each other for about 5 minutes, man? Let me get in the house. Okay. Hey, Gus?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, Gus? My name's Benny. I'm on the queue right there for Hawk Strider. What I need to know is how do I file a counterclaim? Because I got court on Monday, and I spoke with Karl once a long time ago, and he said to file a counterclaim, and I've been looking around and how to do this, and I'm at a loss. I can't find out how to do it. Well, anyway, the judge denied the motion.
How long have you been listening to Karl stuff?
Oh, about a year now.
Okay, so you're talking about a judge. You're talking about a person. You're talking about a counterclaim, which is a statutory, thing. I don't get into that stuff. if you want to talk about the man who's acting as a judge, and you want to talk about filing your own claim.
Just let me just jump in real quick. You can make a counterclaim, but you got to make a counterclaim against your fellow man. Only
right, the two cops who signed the complaint.
No,
that's what I want to do.
No, dude, you're going to fail. I'm telling you right now, you're going to fail. You talk too sloppy and too lazy and too fast. You're going to fail.
Okay.
You're going to fail. You're supposed to say there was a man who was acting as a cop, and then there was another man who was acting as a cop who interfered in my rights. Okay? You don't say there's two cops that did something. No, two cops what? What's two cops mean? I don't have a fucking clue what a cop is.
Okay.
If you tell me it's a man who's acting as a cop, oh, okay, one of those things. Now, I'm sure you could look up in a dictionary, cop might have 12 different definitions. But when you say there's a man who's acting as a cop, see, I try to make things short, simple, and as fast and painless as possible. Sometimes I can do things in 3 words. Sometimes the shortest I could do it is the man acting as a cop. I got to use 5 words. You use the cop. A cop what? If you say a man acting as a cop, the judge has no doubt about it. Where the hell are you going with this? If you say the cop did that, yeah, what cop? Acting in what capacity? You say a man acting as a cop, it's like, okay, he was a man acting, okay, what capacity was the man? Okay, he was a cop, but he was always a man. But you just say cop, you say cop what? Acting in the legal authority, acting in the color of law, acting as you are a defendant, acting as you're a citizen, acting as you are a wrongdoer, acting as you're a perpetrator, as you are a man of a person of interest, or cop what? You just got to make it simple, dude. And it's simple. Believe it or not, the simplest way to say it is a man acting as a cop.
Okay, I get it.
Do it. You can't just say cop. Cop makes absolutely no fucking sense, except for your gut friends and your crew in the neighborhood might understand what you're saying. But when you walk into a courtroom and you have to act like a man and you want people to understand what you're saying implicitly, instantaneously, no doubt about it, no other way of looking at it, you pin him in the corner, you start slapping around like a bitch, you say, a man acting like a cop. And that ends the story right there. You don't have to explain any further. They know exactly where you're going with this.
Because, at one time, the judge told me...
Look, if you want to act like a punk in the street and you want to call them cops, you call them a cop. And I'm telling you, you walk into a courtroom, they're going to slap you like a bitch. You walk into a courtroom and you say a man acting like a cop, they're going to realize, holy shit, you're very for real and you're a dangerous, scary motherfucking individual. Because you know the words and you know how this game is played. You're getting man-on-man liability. You're making a counterclaim.
Okay, as a man, how do I speak in the court? Because at one point he told me to shut up. He ordered me to shut up, and I did because I figured I just better shut up. And he said, the judge.
Who told you shut up?
The man, the judge.
Did you ask
him?
Actually,
the judge.
You say, is that an order?
Yeah, and he said yes, and I said, okay, I'll take your order.
Sure. And then just say, hang on a second, let me get my invoice pad out. So what are you doing? I'm writing down your order so I don't forget it. I'm not one of those waitresses that just can remember orders off the top of my head.
All right. And then should I get rid of that public defender? Should I tell him he's fired?
No, never.
Okay.
You tell him that you say you love that he's there to aid and assist the court because he's going to be the one who's going to interpret just in case there's something that they don't understand. No, okay. you want him to be a standby counsel. If you can get 1,000 standby counsels, take every single one you can.
Okay.
Usually the best thing about a standby counsel, especially a legal aid or public defender, the best thing about them is everything they recommend you to do the complete opposite.
I've been trying, man, but this fucker, man, I'm getting railroaded.
I had an attorney, and this one attorney was with me for 3 years. He was a good guy. We could laugh, joke, pick, and all this other shit. We got along great. And he said to me, hey, Carl, man, we've known each other for 3 years. How come every time you'd ask me for advice, next thing I see is a piece of paper coming to the court that's completely different than what I told you to do, completely opposite? I said, I know your first duty is to the legal society. The first duty that you have, an obligation to that society, is your own ass. I said, so if you want to have a continuing relationship with this court after I'm gone, you're going to kiss that court's ass and you're going to do whatever they want you to do. So every time I ask you for advice, I know what you're doing is for your own benefit and then for your buddies. I come way down in the food chain somewhere. So when I ask you what should I do, and you tell me do this, I do the complete opposite, don't I? He said, yeah, you do. I said, that's right. You're damn right I do. Because I know you're not looking out for my best interest. You're looking out for your own damn best interest. I said, so I'm not stupid. I said, so I'm going to always ask you, what should I do? And then I'm always going to do the complete opposite. I said, look, Tom, you're so fucking smart. And he used to be a neurosurgeon. He actually did like brain surgery. I said, Tom, you're so freaking smart. You can't help yourself. You're a little Susie Chatterbox. I said, so when I ask you a question, man, you whip out that answer like lightning, just like how I do with you guys. I whip it out like lightning. I said, you are so, smart with this game. It's amazing watching you work. I said, so, believe me, if you hesitate or you look up at the sky and you try to come up with some bullshit and try to lie to me, I said, I'll be able to read right through you in a heartbeat. I said, you ain't going to bullshit me for 1 second. I said, good. He says, what do you mean? Watch, I'm going to ask you a question. And I asked him a question. It was funny. He stopped and, looked up at the sky. I said, see, Tom, you're trying to think of a bullshit answer. Tom, you are so smart. You are so quick. You're so good at this game. And when I see you hesitate, Tom, I'm going to presume that you're trying to give me the answer that I want to hear, not the answer that your buddies want you to say. I said, so don't bother fucking me, Tom. I said, I've been doing this too long with too many attorneys. He says, oh, fuck you, man. I said, yeah, fuck you. I said, you're a great attorney. I said, every time you come, somebody do the complete opposite because I know your dedication is for your own ass, for your own life, for your own well-being.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I know when an attorney says something to me, I do the complete opposite.
In the beginning of the court, this has been going on for a year now. In the beginning, I gave them the notice. I put notice to the court, and I put I am man.
No, you don't have to put notice to court. A notice goes out to the world.
Okay.
A notice just goes to the world. A notice isn't just directed to a court because then a court can determine whether or not it's going to take notice of that notice. You just put a notice out there. It's so funny, man. I have when you walk into my house, I actually have a notice board. I bought it at a town auction, like a town said to them. I said, wow. I said, wait a second. You're auctioning off this notice board? It's like a big bulletin board, like a glass case you put notices in. I said, wait a second. The town is getting rid of their notice board. Where are you going to put the notices from now on? They said, well, we have 2 notice boards. Oh, that's right. It's from Ashland, Virginia. I said, well, what's the town of Ashland going to do when they want to post notices or post bills? Somebody owes a past due bill. You go there, you put it on the bulletin board. You put it on a billboard. I said, what are you guys going to do for notice board? They said, well, we got 2 of them. I said, oh, that makes sense. And they said, yeah, honestly, we digitize almost everything now. Nobody comes here and posts bills anymore. Like, say, Gus owed me money or you owed me money, and I can't collect it. I'd take your bill to town that you and I created, like, I, Gus, will gladly pay Carl, Tuesday for a hamburger today. And Gus didn't pay. So I can't find Gus. So what I'm going to do is I want to go to the town, to town, and to the billboard, and I'm going to go ask the clerk, hey, can you put Gus's bill up here? It's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So then anybody comes to town, they said, oh, look, let's check out the billboard. Let's see who owes money to who. This is basically a way to embarrass Gus to paying me the $5, because then he'd get a bad reputation in town when he wanted to borrow some money from somebody else or somebody wanted to do business with him. And they say, I'm not going to do business with you, Gus. Why? Because I've seen on the billboard you owe Carl $5. Like, what? Oh, yeah, I guess I do. So Gus would go down to the town clerk. He'd give the town clerk $5. And he'd say, can you take down that damn bill? And he'd say, okay. So the town clerk would give Gus his $5 bill back. It was a debt note. A bill's a debt note. So Gus would have his $5 bill back, and then Gus would obviously want to destroy it. He'd want to rip up that bill and burn it or destroy it because he wants that bill falling into somebody else's hands. Because if Gus was walking down the street with a $5 bill in his pocket and it fell out, somebody else could pick it up and claim that Gus owes him $5 because then he'd be the holder in due course.
What word should I use when I do speak in there? What's the best way to address that black robe and to make that statement?
Gus asked you a really good question. He said, how many of these shows have you listened to?
Actually, I've been listening to you for over a year, Carl.
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. Some guy from Cambodia said to me the other day he listened to every single one of my shows. And this guy is the best guy I've ever talked to in my life, and he knows my stuff. I mean, no disrespect to Gus or anybody, but holy shit, I am telling you, this guy has listened to every damn thing, and he tries to trick me and catch me on every freaking word. It is hysterical listening to this guy talk to me because he's setting me up. And he's like, Dan called, you answered it perfectly. He's like, what do you mean? He said, that's exactly the way you always say it. I said, yeah, and? He said, yeah, but I thought you would say it sloppy like everybody else. I said, no, I will not do that. He says, and he tries to set me up on every damn phone call. It's a lot of fun trying to be set up by somebody to see if they could catch me into saying something that I might have said 3 years ago or 4 years ago on somebody else's show, and he's like, damn, Carl, it's exactly what you said like 3 or 4 years ago. I said, yeah. They said, oh, you suck. You know, it's like he's trying to catch me because that's how much he knows my stuff. And he must like find these really interesting key points that I say, and he tries to trap me or trick me or catch me saying something different, and he can't do it, he said. He says, you suck. He said, you're really good. So, like I said, he's the only man that we've actually moved on to talking about other things like, you know, how do I know I exist? You know, what's the meaning of God? You know, we're done. We're done talking about the court shit. He's got to figure it out, and we move on. So just because you said you listened to my show for a year, that doesn't mean that you're that deeply into it.
Okay. If I put it this way, I understand what being a man is in court. I've read so many other things about that custody kind of thing, how they made a trust and I'm the beneficiary, but they're trying to make me responsible. So then they lull you into court, but I guess I'm getting mixed up with the vernacular. You know, maybe I'm trying to do their thing with their words, and I know that's a big mistake. But when the first time when I went up a year ago to court and I told them I am man, what man here says I do wrong? He basically slammed it down and said, "Shut up. Your lawyer speaks for you." And I said, "Wait a minute. You're telling me I can't speak for myself?" And he says, "Exactly." And I said, "Well, no." And he goes, "I'm gonna throw you in jail." And I said, "Go ahead. Do what you got to do." And then he said, "If you don't shut up, I order you to shut up," or something like that. And I said, "Is that an order?" And he goes, "That's an order." And I looked at the stenographer and I said, "Okay, you got that on. You better make sure you got that on your stenographer thing right there." And then so I just shut up, you know, because I didn't want to provoke anything that I don't know what I'm getting into. So I think I'm at a loss on how to present myself. I said maybe even how to act. You know, maybe I'm too intimidated by. You know, I'm 57 years old, but I got my ass kicked from my dad. He was a big authoritarian. I went into the Marine Corps, their authority, so maybe my respect for authority goes too far, you know, to that point. I don't know, but it seems like...
it's got nothing to do with that. You were in court a year ago. You went through this, and it sounds like you haven't learned anything since.
Yeah, I'm stuck. I got to be honest. Yes, I'm not going to try to bullshit. Yeah, I am stuck.
How could you be stuck if you've been listening for a year? Have you heard anything you've been listening to?
Yes, and you know what it is? I think I'm stuck on. I don't have the words. You know, I tried it, and it didn't work for me.
The man sitting there as a judge spoke to you, and you never told him. Do you realize you're talking to a man? You know, I'm here. This is a public building. I'm here to settle a matter. You know, I don't require this attorney to speak for me. This person. I'm a man. I can take care of my own affairs. I mean, there's nothing complicated about having a conversation man to man, you know, with somebody who's dressed in a different costume. Okay, you can be a person later when I leave. Right now, we're talking man to man, and you know, don't threaten me. I don't take kindly to being threatened. You know, you can't say that.
Okay. I'm starting to form it now. Yes, I get it. You're right. So I got to treat him totally like a man. Don't let him intimidate. Because out in the street, I wouldn't let anybody do that to me in the street. You know.
If you've been listening to Karl for a year, that should be second nature.
Yeah. You know, well, like I say, I basically do that on the street. You know, I guess maybe in the court I fuck up. You know.
Listen, okay, you're a man, okay? If a guy grabs your wife's ass, you're telling me you're going to need to look it up to find out what to do next?
No, fuck no. Like I say, in the street, I'm there. You know what I mean? And I'm
what's the difference?
Who they are.
What's the difference if you're in court?
Yeah, I get it. I get it now. I see that. Yes, there is no difference. That's the answer. There is no difference. Okay, good. Okay.
So you got to put the notices in to let the court know, to inform the court of who you are, what your status is, what you're willing to take, not take. Okay, if you're willing to be there as a defendant, great. If you're willing to be there as a defendant only if you get paid to be there as a defendant, great. If you're willing to not be there as a defendant and you're willing to be there without title, you know, to settle a matter, that's great. But you got to let them know who you are, why you're showing up, and how you plan to proceed. And let them know what the rules of engagement are. If you're going to deal with me, this is how it's going to be, and that's it. And, you know, it's no different than, you know, getting a job. You go get a job and they say, look, if you do this, we're going to pay you this much. And you tell them, well, I'm not willing to do that, but I'll do this. Okay? It's no different. It's the same thing. Whether you're in court getting a job, whether you're working for somebody, whether you're hiring people, it's all negotiations. You know, you got to let everybody know what the rules of engagement are.
Yes.
In court, you do that by giving notice.
Written?
The only way you're going to prove that there's a man in that court is by giving a notice that is handwritten. It is written by the hand of man. It is man-made.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the proof on the record that you are a man, that it was not computer-generated, and that you're not a person.
Because, you know, I did that, Gus, the very first day I went to court, and that caused a ruckus because they sent me to another court, and then when I went to that second court, I said, what about my notice? The judge said, you gave that notice to Judge so-and-so. Then he goes, and then you gave the notice to Judge so-and-so. So as if it didn't apply to him. And then they proceeded. And then I said,
so
wait a minute, man.
And you said, sir, I gave that notice to the world, to all man, and you're a man, and therefore it does apply to you.
Yeah, good. I needed to know that. I needed to be able to hear that so I can, okay, good.
Sir, I didn't give notice to the court. I gave notice to mankind. I did not give judicial notice. Okay, I gave notice.
With regard to a public registry or the registry of deeds, how do you guys feel about posting your notices there with regard to making notice and making them public record? Is that something you guys ascribe to?
Yeah, if you're trying to give notice to the people of that of a church, you put it on the church bulletin. If you're giving notice to the people that work for the county, then you put it on the county registry, county recorder's office. If you're giving notice to the man and the woman that work in the courthouse, then you put it on the court docket. You got to give notice in the local area. You don't give notice to the people in New Hampshire by publishing it out in Washington, D.C. You put it in the Union Leader. So you got to give notice in the area to the people that are there, the man and the woman that are going to be in that area. So giving notice is just a matter of putting it someplace that's public, but it's got to be, for instance, if you give public notice for a foreclosure, you got to give it in the area where the house is, where people would actually read about it and have.
Yeah, makes sense.
You got to stay local. If I'm looking to clear, the debts on my property before I sell it, I would give notice in the local newspaper that anybody with a claim to my land, if you come forward and I'll pay all debts right now because I'm looking to clear everything off before I sell this out. So Joe might show up and say, hey, I painted the front porch 15 years ago, about 3 years before you bought it, but I never got paid. Would you be willing to pay me for that? And I may or may not. It's not my debt, but yet, I might, if he says it was $125 and I've got the money, I might clear the debt. I might want to, make sure that but you give public notice in the area or according to the purpose of the public notice. It's got to make sense.
Having given the notice once already, is that enough? Should I repeat that again and give notice Monday again and then speak the words?
How do you feel about it? Okay, do you think they need to hear it again? Do you think they need to see it again?
Yeah, I think they do because they ignored me in the first place, so now I'm going to have to reassert it and then speak as a man when I go to court on Monday.
Stick it back in there. If you're in a courtroom and you say to the man acting as judge, sir, I'm speaking to you man to man to let you know blah blah blah, and then the conversation, later on, you just start talking to him. He might assume you're now talking as a person. So why not repeat yourself every single time you talk to that man and say, again, sir, man to man, I'm only here to let you know this, or to tell you that, or to settle a matter. But always start off by saying, I'm a man and I'm here to speak to you man to man. And why not reiterate that over and over again? No different with your notices. If your notices are good, put them in there.
I will.
There's John Fall is a guy who went to court back in January or February, something like that. There was like 8 days of trial. He threw everything in. Notices Carl was helping him out with, the kitchen sink, the IRS statutes. I mean, he was just pounding stuff out. If you're a man of a consistent thought and you continuously do the same thing over and over and over again because you know it's correct, you know that this is what you need to do, and you're not backing off. You've got a single focus, and that's it. And if they cannot derail you from that focus, they know they're in deep shit. But if if you give one notice and the next week it's different, and the next week it's different, and you keep just piling stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff, hoping that some of the mud you throw against the wall is going to stick, they're going to see that. So you gotta be accurate. You have to have deadly aim when you put that notice in there, and you have to use the words that mean certain things. You can't be sloppy with the language.
Right.
You were talking about putting in a counterclaim against the judge. That's to me.
No. I was thinking the counterclaim against the two men or the two mans that signed the complaint against me in the first place.
But you were talking about persons and counterclaims, and we're talking about common law. Right. That immediately told me that you have not been listening for a long time.
Well, actually, when I first called Karl a long time ago, about a year ago, he said, because I told him what happened, that got shut down. He said, you got to bring your court into the court.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that you're claiming that you've been listening to stuff for a year, to Karl's audios for a year, and your language is really, really sloppy. You're going to get buried. You're going to get hurt. Okay, if you walk into court and you bring common law into their court, okay, they're doing their thing. They do it every day. They're very, very good at it. If you walk in there with common law, they know that eventually you're going to win. So the very first thing they want to do is shut you down as fast and as hard as possible. And if you're not ready to handle that, don't bring it into their court.
Okay. I just got to be more stern. That's all. I get it.
You got to be more stern if you're accurate. If you're on point. If you're not on point and you be stern, you're going to be held in contempt. Pushing your way through, if you're on point and on target, is wonderful. But if you try pushing your way through and you're headed in the wrong direction and he keeps telling you to shut up and you don't know what to do with that, you're in over your head.
Right. That's what I feel like. Yeah, that's what it felt like. Actually, it feels like, Well, because when Karl said, did I get him wrong when he said to file a counterclaim against the two people who signed the complaint against me to begin with? Did I get that wrong?
I'm not going to go there because I don't know what your stuff is. I'm sure Karl doesn't know what your stuff is, and we haven't even had a conversation. And he was giving you general ideas of what to do, not specifics to your situation.
So yeah, because one thing I can guarantee I did not use in a conversation like ever is counterclaim.
Yeah, I've never heard you say that.
I know.
That's a waste. What did you mean by bringing my case to the court or my court?
Yeah, because like I said, because nobody used to make. You say you want to make a counterclaim. See this? You see, like I said, you got too much screwball bullshit fucking in your mind, dude. I'm talking on the radio show. No, this guy sitting in the truck next to me thought I was talking to him. No, no, I would never say the word counterclaim because you'd only make a claim against your fellow man, and you said 2 police officers did this to you. Okay, well, they make complaints. See, this is what Billy Thornton and everybody gets fucked up and messed up all the time. This is what happens.
Yeah. I did go to his fucking seminar.
Right. You guys say counterclaims, okay? The policeman did not make a claim against you. He made a complaint. So how can you possibly what are you going to do, make a cross-complaint against him or counter-complaint against him? You know how fucking pussy that sounds? I want to complain. Oh, I want to complain some, too. Look, it's my turn to complain. Look, my hand's up over here. I want to complain. Judge, listen, look over here. I'm complaining now.
Okay, so then forget that. Okay.
Right. You want to file a cross complaint. Yeah, that's it. I want to be a pussy, too. I want to make a complaint. I don't want to be a man and stand up and make a claim. No, I want to make a complaint. That way I'm not liable. I just want to complain and whine.
Well, what do you mean, Karl? When you said one time I listened to one of your videos on YouTube, or actually
what's your name?
Benny Lascano, Benito Lascano.
So, and I've talked to you before.
Yes, you had over a year ago because it was when I was going to go to court that day. I had given them notice. I said were you the guy who called me up while you were pulling into the parking lot, getting the parking ticket to go into the court? No. I was. Okay, there's another guy who actually was whispering to me from a courtroom and said, "Hey, Karl, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Why are you whispering? I'm in the middle of a courtroom." I said, "Holy shit, what do you mean you're in a courtroom?" "Yeah, I'm in a courtroom." I swear to God, the guy called me up in the middle of a courtroom. I said, "Well, what do you need?"
He says, somebody just walked said to the judge, I want to move this into a common law court. And the judge said he's not qualified to hear such a matter. He says, and then the guy just kept going, and the judge kept going on with the trial. He says, Carl, that's my trick. That's what I wanted to do. What should I do? I said, first show off that damn cell phone and get the hell out of that courtroom. Go out in the hallway and talk to me. I said, because they catch you talking on a cell phone in a courtroom, you're going to hell contempt of court for 30 days. So you're going to have bigger things to worry about than worrying about getting into a common law court. And then I said to the guy, I said, look, you're a one-trick pony. I said, what? I said, because I'm going to give you the answer when the judge tells you this. And then what are you going to do when he says something else, shoots the ball back over the net? You're going to drop the ball. You're going to miss it. I said, okay, all this guy had to say to him, the judge said he wasn't qualified to hear such a matter. Qualification means that you're indemnified, that he bears liability. He doesn't want to bear liability over that matter because he's not competent. Just like a brain surgeon can't do foot surgery and a foot surgeon can't do brain surgery. Yes, they can, but their insurance company doesn't cover them to do foot surgery. Yes, a brain surgeon could do a tonsillectomy or tonsillitis. Of course he could. But he's not crazy enough to do it because his insurance doesn't cover him. That's all he's saying. He's not covered. He's not bonded. He's not sworn in. He can't do it. So when a judge says to you, I can't hear such a matter, I'm not qualified, just say to him, okay, then there's no disrespect if you wish to recuse yourself and get a man in here that's qualified to hear such a matter. I got time. We could wait. See, but that's what I'm saying. I said to the guy in the hallway, I said, dude, what you're doing is a one-trick pony show. You guys are so fucking lazy and sloppy. You guys are trying to just do a YouTube, watching a YouTube video, and you say, well, I don't want to pay people thousands of dollars to solve these problems. You know what? I'm going to watch a YouTube video and to come in with a one-trick pony fucking question or one-trick pony act here and see if I can bluff my way through this. You ain't going to bluff your way with a one-trick pony shot. The judge is going to ask you another question, and he's going to realize you're a pretender. He's going to realize you're a fool. When I went into England in the very first preliminary hearing, there's only 3 people on planet Earth that know anything that I'm talking about. And I'll tell you, that judge at the first preliminary hearing, he read my 2 sentences, he looked over at me, and he told the Crown prosecutor, you better go settle this out in the man in the hallway. This man knows what he's doing. And the prosecutor's like, oh, no, we'll prevail. And he says, oh, really? You understand you've been summoned to appear before Queen. You do know that. He's like, yeah, when in the history of England has the Crown ever prevailed before the Queen? Oh, we'll prevail, Your Honor. Oh, really? He said to the Crown prosecutor, and how do you believe you're going to prevail? Who's your witnesses? He said 3 officers and he said, oh, officers. And you don't think that man knows how to strip that officers of their ranking and have them appear before Queen as a man? He said, yes, I'm sure he does. So if I was you, I'd go out in the hallway and I'd work a settlement out with that man because the Crown will not prevail when it comes to trial because this man knows what he's doing. I wrote 2 freaking sentences. It looked like me, Tarzan, she, Jane, she steal bone, give back bone. The judge was like, yeah, he's got it. That's it. That's a stroke of genius. He's got it. What? Me, Tarzan, you, Jane, Jane steal bone, give back bone? What? That guy's not a genius. Like a fucking 3rd grader wrote it. You know, well, that's it. He knows to act, man. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. This man knows I question him on any of these words. He's got it. He knows every damn word. Me, Tarzan, she, Jane. Damn right I could explain it. You guys go on with your crazy shit saying, oh, I want to make a counterclaim. Oh, really? What's a counter?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it sounds awfully cool. It sounds like shit lawyers say, so it sounds like I know what I'm doing. Oh, really? Then how come when I walk in the court, I say, me, Tarzan, she, Jane, Jane, steal bone, get back bone? I gave the claim. I gave the notice to the court. Who's the parties to the court? Who's the wrongdoer? Who's the prosecutor? I explained what's the order. I gave the order, I made the claim, and I defined the parties. I gave the caption, the claim, and the order, right, with me, Tarzan, she, Jane, Jane, steal bone, give back bone. There you go. There's the caption, there's the claim, there's the order. Holy shit. I hit the trifecta in what, 9 words or something like that, 12 words, that's it. That's what you got to do. I'm done.
Okay.
How you going to beat that? There ain't no beating that. There ain't no wiggle room. Am I Tarzan? Yes. Is she Jane? Yes. Is she steal bone? Yes or no? Yes. Give back bone.